Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today is going to be your housing market update, and I'm going to talk to you guys about everything you need to know about the housing market and whether or not you should purchase a home. Now, we're going to go over several recent Zillow articles on the housing market, but before that, we're going to talk about pricing your market, because remember, guys, real estate is extremely bifurcated. Now, before that, we're going to talk about goals and whether or not you should even think about buying a house right now, being that it is literally the worst time in history from a mathematical standpoint to buy a house. It's about 4:30-ish a.m. right now. I got up super early to do this video on my way to North Carolina and Tennessee. I've seen your comments. I know you want some more housing market videos. Please forgive me, and do not forget, in the description of this video is a free home buying course. So if you really want to know how to buy a house, you guys have a free course. But either way, I'm going to make this video as we together head to North Carolina and Tennessee. Let me show you my setup real quick. I have a dash cam, 4 cameras, just in case I have any issues with some of the law enforcement. You guys know that we're having issues. Got the outside pillow, blanket, a lot of body cams, soil samples, water sample kit on the bottom there. Got my backpacks back there. This trip is going to be about a few things. Number one, debunking misinformation, figuring out if we can find any contaminated areas, and the most important thing, finding people in need right now, being that we are headed straight for winter. It's been 8 hours since I last checked in with you, and we're going to talk about goals. Now, when it comes to buying real estate, generally you're going to purchase a home based on an investment property or a primary residence, and then some people purchase a primary residence and convert it into an investment property. Now, before we go into the really important stuff like the pricing of your markets and using comparables, let's talk about goals, which the last one being your comprehension of real estate, i.e. the pricing. But when it comes to goals, generally people are renting, and there's really 3 things other than the comprehension that you need to be working on right now, generally need to be working on right now. And those 3 things are your credit, your income, and your assets. And as far as credit, you can generally get a mortgage down to about a 580 credit score. But if you do that, you will be penalized with higher interest rates and higher closing costs. You want to score around 760. Generally, if you have a score around 740 or 760, you're going to get the best interest rate. And some of the ways that you establish a high credit score is by working on something called a utilization ratio, which only has to do with your credit cards, not any other debt. And generally, the maximum your utilization ratio should be is 30%. So never charge more than 30% of your credit line. If you do, your score will go down. And also remember, each credit card is an individual trade line. In other words, you guys, don't have any debt. Don't even think about buying a house until your debt is under control and your credit score is exceptional, okay? Now, the next thing is income. The way that income works is if you're full-time on a W-2, generally you can use that income, hourly income, right off the bat. But when it comes to overtime, commission, or bonus, or a second job, you generally need a 2-year history. So if you've only been at work for about 4 months, you're going to need to probably wait. But I will also say that even if you can't use income to qualify for a loan, still make it. Now, the last thing is, as far as goals, is assets. Now, when it comes to assets, the main thing that I want you guys to understand is you cannot use cash when it comes to purchasing real estate because of the Patriot Act disclosure. So make sure that your down payment is sourced. A lot of people want to do 20% down. The first house I bought in Texas, I put 3.5% down, and I had an FHA. So everyone's situation is different. But regardless, people should have 6 months of savings before they even think about buying a house and using the money that they saved as a down payment. Because remember, you guys, generally your expenses skyrocket. The last thing I want to remind you guys before we go into pricing, understand that expenses adjust when owning a house. When you rent, you call the landlord. When you own a house, your property taxes will keep going up, so beware of that. And if you don't pay your property taxes, they will take your house. So you never fully own your home, plus also insurance. And plus also not having insurance. Look at what happened during Hurricane Helene. Almost nobody had insurance. They lost their house and still owed money. So you have property taxes, you have insurance, you have an HOA, you have neighbors, you have all of these things that you don't have renting. So I want you to consider that. Another 3 hours has gone by and we're going to talk about pricing your market. Now, this is one of the most important things to do, because remember, you guys, every market is different, and within every market, virtually every subdivision is different. So when I say price your market, you guys can go to one of my last housing market videos and actually show you guys how to do it and how I'm doing it. Now, the reason that's important is because remember, again, like I said, every subdivision is unique. And in order to determine whether or not you're getting a good deal, great deal, or a bad deal, you need to figure out and understand, using the math, what the deal actually is. And the way you do that, guys, it's so simple. It works with both calculating wedge and calculating cash flow. To calculate cash flow, all you need is rental comparables, and to calculate wedge, all you need is sales comparables. Now, generally what I do is I look at all the comps for a specific period of time, and I figure out what the average is. Appraisers use 3 comps. Again, I use all the comps, and generally the way that I price my market is I'm looking for properties in my market that are under 2020 average price per square foot. So I run an entire analysis. Say, for example, on Kingwood, I find out that Kingwood average price per square foot, say in 2021, was $140 a square foot. Now, when I go to active MLS, I can look at all of the listings, and I can categorize all of the active listings by price per square foot. And based on what that is, I will now know whether or not I'm getting a good deal, a bad deal, or a great deal. And that is especially true when it comes to new home sales. You guys are gonna find multiple new home builders that say there's $50,000, $60,000 off, but you have to be careful. The only way we know whether or not it's a true price cut is we have to look under the hood and do an analysis on the subdivision. And do not forget, you guys, in the description, in this video, I have made a free form. Costs you absolutely nothing, that will help you calculate both wedge and cash flow, and it does have the formulas on the sheet. So there is absolutely no excuse for you guys not to do due diligence. All right, so we're at the actual housing market update part, and it has been about 20 hours since I've talked to you. So much has happened since then. Oh my gosh, this trip is crazy. But I saved a special spot I want to show you guys. And hopefully I have the SAR video out soon, but there's an entire SAR operation going on right now, which is search and recovery. It's normally search and rescue, but that's where we're at. They got, I flew a drone, but they got 3 dog teams, a boat, and some other special technology. We've got, I believe, 4 hits so far today. So pretty successful day. Let me show you guys where I'm standing. These mountain towns, y'all, are absolutely stunning. Take a look at that real quick, and I'll get right in to look at that. Oh my gosh. So this is an area that's actually been cleared by FEMA to start working on. The name of this article is Zillow's Housing Market Predictions for 2025. Zillow predicts more buyers will come out ahead in a bumper 2025, but predicted mortgage rates could cloud the picture. What about the price? No one ever wants to talk about the price, and I just wanted to take a minute and to warn you guys, always be careful of realtors. Always, always, always. And also remember, if you sell your house, it can cost up to 8%, 3 and 3 to the realtor, and roughly 2% closing costs. So remember, you guys, real estate is expensive. They're saying in 2025 will pick up, which, how could it not? I mean, it's absolutely abysmal, but let's see what they have to say. And by the way, how they cannot is the recession. Expect to see more sales and only modest home value growth in 2025 as the market slowly becomes unstuck. Zillow forecast a 2.6% home value growth in 2025, so they're a little bit less than 3. Unfortunately, on the rental house that I have and got stuck with, my property tax rate is 3.2. So all of my equity, if I got 2.6% of equity, remember you guys, that is lost because my property taxes are higher than hypothetically the 2.6% in equity growth. So remember that when doing your numbers. For existing home sales, Zillow forecasts 4.3 million sales in the coming year, up slightly from 4.1 in 2023 and projected 4 million in 2024. That's actually been rebounding the end of the year. I thought we would be under 4. Time will tell. Affordability challenges will remain. Buyers should expect more homes on the market, meaning more time to consider their options and more leverage for negotiations. The next section here. Mortgage rates will fall, then rise, then fall again. That's confusing. Signs point to mortgage rates easing in 2025, but as we saw in 2024, mortgage rates rarely follow the expected path. What is more certain is that buyers should expect plenty of ups and downs throughout the year. Here's a truck coming. Mortgage rates fell in September, briefly bringing the share of affordable listings to a 19-month high. They have since climbed back to nearly 7%, changing the affordability picture for home buyers. More swings like this are expected in 2025, with refinancing sprints occurring during the dips. I got to warn you guys about refinancing. Remember, if you refinance, you have to start your entire amortization over again. So if you plan on refinancing, if you buy a home at its peak, it's kind of a financial prison. I mean, these days, guys, you really got to focus on your real estate and pay your loan down. You always want to put a little bit more money towards your principal, do bi-weekly, because the amount of money you save by paying just a little bit extra towards principal goes a long way. And you guys can run an amortization schedule and select extra payments to see how long it would take if you do that. Buyer's market will spread to the southwest because we already have it here in Texas and Florida, parts of California, parts of the Carolinas as well. Buyer's market will spread to the southwest. Currently, 13 major metro areas are buyer's markets, where buyers have the upper hand in negotiations, according to Zillow's Market Heat Index, with most of those in the southeast. Zillow predicts buyer's markets will spread to the southwest in 2025 as, here's the key word, you guys, inventory continues to come unstuck in relatively affordable markets. Again, we need prices to go down. Prices have gone down in some markets, especially, and take a minute if you can, go to Kingwood and see all of the listings we have in Kingwood and see how many are now under $110 a square foot and some even under $105 a square foot. So in my market, it's going crazy. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I will stop at nothing to find the deal of my dreams, and I will not settle on a home I don't absolutely love. And that's a great deal. Zillow predicts buyers markets will spread to the southwest, and these buyer markets could have the greatest number of movers, while sellers will feel the heat of competition as buyers will have more homes to choose from, just like in my area. If mortgage rates fall more than expected, that dims the prospects that buyers markets will spread west. It is anticipated that a significant mortgage rate dip would bring more buyers than sellers back to the market, increasing competition and tilting negotiation power in favor of sellers. We don't want that. We want it in favor of buyers. Next section. Americans embrace small home living. You mean Americans can only afford small home living. The pandemic era need for more and more space is over. Home buyers will increasingly lean into smaller homes as more sustainable, affordable, and desirable way to live. And real quick, you guys see behind me, that's a small debris pile. It's kind of hard to even call that a debris pile. That's what we got to search through right there. And there's a whole bunch. You kind of see them behind. The term cozy is appearing in more listing descriptions, 35% more in 2024 compared to 2023. That's crazy. Reflecting current design trends that have shifted away from caravanos, from open floor plans towards contained spaces that have their own style and purpose. It sounds like China. What's going on with China's housing market right now? Don't get suckered in, you guys. The housing market will correct in more areas. It's already correcting, crashing, or resetting in some areas and in some subdivisions in tight markets. But you gotta look under the hood and you gotta see what the math says. Home values of small condos are finally stabilizing after remote work left downturns more empty. Apartment renters enjoyed a relatively friendly market this year, at least compared to the record rent growth seen in 2022. Rent growth has held steady at a reasonable pace, and the share of rental listings on Zillow offering concessions, such as free weeks of rent or free parking. I can't believe you also have to pay for parking. That's crazy. Think about it. Well, I guess not if you're in New York or a place like that. It is at a record high. Zillow expects renters will not have much opportunity to negotiate for that free month of rent by the end of next year. That's not good news. The multifamily construction boom is the primary reason for the rise in concessions. More multifamily units are hitting the market than at any time in the past 50 years. And it's crazy that rent has stabilized like it has, pushing property managers, well, not counting the concessions, right? Pushing property managers to compete for renters. Those fireworks are predicted to fizzle in 2025, especially in the second half of the year. And that's not what we want to hear if we're renting. I'm afraid that this is the end of the video, and I just wanted to say this one last thing. Don't rush, take your time, find something that works for you, but if you can, just rent, save more down payment, use that down payment to invest in things that are safe, and take your time at finding the biggest investment of your life. I cannot believe that I just forgot my outro. I've literally been standing here for 3 minutes and I'm so tired. I've slept an hour in the last 2 days. But regardless, guys, I hope you win.